Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Probably wondering where I've been since Christmas. Been real busy. I haven't had much time for doing any work on the CNC or any cool projects like that. Right after Christmas, we kind of decided to finish this room that's in my barn and workshop. It's our tack room for the horses, and that's pretty much eaten up all the spare time. It's pretty much nothing but painting, finishing drywall, and doing some trim and whatnot. Nothing exciting to show you. But I thought I'd show you the finished results. This here's the room. It's a 12 by 24 room. That there ship's ladder heads up to the workshop up above. Finished, actually, that's been there. I just had to stain it and put some railings on it. The saddle racks for the horses were there. We just removed them and put up this T111 wainscot, painted the walls, all that. This is pretty much like the bowels of my workshop too. I mean, I have in here is where my dust collector is, and can show you in this here closet. That's where some of the mechanicals are for the workshop. It's just a utility closet. The main service is here, dust collector, water heater. Nothing exciting. And on this side, we have another closet that houses my air compressor. Again, nothing exciting. That air runs upstairs. And built these here, built like a utility countertop with some storage shelves. Again, nothing exciting. Had a place to, I got a place to keep things a little bit more organized as far as the chainsaw and the battery charger, most of which has either been in the garage or up in the workshop. So that's pretty much where I've been. Like I said, nothing exciting to video. Threw these old carpets down. Someone gave them to us. They were moving, didn't want them anymore. I don't know if they're gonna last. They kind of gather dirt really fast walking in and out of the barn. So anyway, hey, here's my first experience at that was a deer skull. Found two of them on the property. Actually, my daughter did. And I stained the antlers. They were all bleached white from being out in the sun and weather and rats chewing on them. Had them sitting in a corner for some years and never did anything with them. So I kind of threw them around here just for some, I don't know, decor. And then there was another set that I actually cut the skull off of and stained. Well, it worked out. Nothing fancy here. But the reason I really wanted to show you was the latest thing I've been working on here that's been keeping me busy. Well, mostly last night we had some extraordinarily cold weather and then followed by this extraordinarily warm weather. And I took advantage of that to work on my sawmill, which you can see out there. I had to, basically it was my own fault. It wasn't running. I did not drain and clean the gas out. And this ethanol gas really eats things up. So basically it was suffering from a case of bad gas, kind of like me sometimes. And so the carburetor needed rebuilt. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is basically outside of my comfort zone. I usually leave something like this to the professionals. Look at all those little parts. Oh man, I don't know. Anyway, I took a crack at it last night. My neighbor Dave come over. He's got some experience with carburetors, and together we kind of took it apart, cleaned it all up, put it back together, and I got it on, and it was actually running, but I had an issue with it. I had to have the choke partially on for it to really run smooth, just a little bit, and that bothered me. And I Googled a video on YouTube. Some guys are rebuilding the exact same carburetor. I mean, exact. And I saw something that we did not do that he did. I was totally unaware of it. He called it the main jet. Again, I'm pretty ignorant about this stuff, but this little part here is supposed to be removed and cleaned out, which we did not do last night. So I decided to take it back off and, you know, take this out and do it over, which I've done. Unfortunately, there's a tiny little O-ring on that end there. When I went to put it back together, it ripped right in half. Yeah, naturally, right? I probably should have been a little more patient and spent 75 bucks online and bought the carburetor rebuild kit. But I'm a little stubborn that way. I was into it and I just wanted to get it done. I mean, this carb's only like 2 years old, has very low hours on it, so I thought it would probably not need the whole rebuild kit, just cleaned up. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been goofing with. I'm gonna try and get this back together, and if I get it on the sawmill and it's running, I will give you an update on that. And we're still working on this here. Well, not working on it currently, but the vacuum pod project for the CNC. It's stalled out a little bit, mainly because of I used what I had, but it's not the appropriate material for this here vacuum pod. It worked great, and you will see footage of that later when I finish this video. But I'm going to be ordering a different piece of material to make this out of, because it's just not thick enough. By the time I fly cut it to level the surface off, you know, with the machine, I took too much material off, and I actually cracked. I don't know if when I rethreaded that fitting back in there for the vacuum. I glued it back together and it's actually working, but this just isn't, it's just not right. So we'll revisit this later in another video. I'm gonna show you the entire system that I built. It's working really well, aside from having to remake my vacuum pod. All right, got this put back together, went pretty good. I'm gonna throw it on. I may look like a complete moron in a few minutes here if this doesn't work, but you know, I'm thinking positive, so let's get it on. Okay, the first thing we need to do is get these linkages back on the throttle and the choke. Kind of got to snake them around here, twist everything up. Not too bad. I think the biggest pain in the butt is that little tiny spring. It's about as thick as a hair. Gotta hook that sucker back on there. Pair of hemostats. No, I don't use them for anything other than little parts. Okay, linkages are on. Pretty much sits right back on there. Line up. And that snakes around there. Okay. All right. Time to bolt her on. I'm just curious, does anyone else out there have a hard time using a ratchet wrench anymore? I don't know, now that I'm older, I find anytime I'm turning a ratchet that bothers my wrist. I don't know, it's from years of, you know, using your hands and working with tools, grinders, heavier types of tools, and I have a real problem with, kind of just feels weird. So I use the screwdriver for most of it. Okay, I think everything here is looking good. Just tighten this up evenly. That gasket looked like it was like brand new. No need to replace that, I don't think. All right, a little wire here for this fuel shutoff solenoid. Okay, that's connected. All right, throttle, or The linkages are all, nothing in their way. Okay, so this vacuum line goes up through this plate and goes back on, and I'm gonna remember to do what I didn't do last time. Believe it or not, when I put this back on, I forgot to connect the fuel line. I had the air cleaner, everything back on, and I was pumping fuel and it was turning over but not starting. And then I realized that there was fuel dumping on the top of the engine here, and I forgot to reconnect the fuel line. So there, that's done. Okay, fuel's connected, carb is bolted on, wires connected. Okay, time for this little gizmo, this plate. This is the breather, so I've been told. That goes up through there. Okay, breather on. This little doodad here actually holds the air filter on. There's more bolts holding the air filter on than there are holding on the carburetor. Go figure, huh? And the breather goes in there. And I don't know what this is, little hose, but it tucks in there too. Kind of like a second breather. All right. Fuel's connected. Okay. Let's give it a go. Probably going to take a minute to pump some fuel up into the carb. I guess I'm going to call that success. See you in the next video.